This is the most British song I've ever heard in my life. A Promise by Echo and the Bunnymen from their 1981 album Heaven Up Here. It's also number 463 out of 500 on the 500. What's up, everybody? I am your host with the most, eating toast. I'm trying not to boast. Josh Adam Myers, and thank you for tuning in to the only podcast where we're going through Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums. So I hope you guys paid for your Spotify so you can listen to the records. I have to tell you guys something. It hurts me to say this, but this is the last show for 2 weeks. Here's the reason. I can't tell you, but it's really good. And I have every single one of you to thank, whether you were there from episode 1 or, which was actually 500, by the way, so, you know, because we're doing it like, it's like Memento. Or if you joined via the gateway drug that is Bill Burr talking about White Stripes or Wanda Sykes or Bert Kreischer or Jim Jeffries or Jay Moore or Baron Vaughn. Whatever the reason is, I don't care how you got here, but if you clicked play and subscribe and gave us a fucking review on iTunes saying fuck the 500, 5 stars, and a huge shout out to Ryan Sickler and Jay Larson from the Crab Feast. And if you were there from the Crab Feast, whatever it is, whichever way you supported the 500 and Josh Adam Myers, thank you. I do have something to announce. I can't do it yet, but we will be back July 31st. That's 2 weeks. And we're going to be showing up with a brand new episode live from Montreal with some very exciting news. So as always, listen to it for free on Spotify or whatever ways you get your podcast. It will be back in 2 weekies, okay? Thank you. And thank you. I love you guys. And if I saw one of your Instagram stories about the 500, thank you as well. I want you guys to take a screenshot of the way you're listening to the podcast and tag me at Josh Adam Myers and put a hashtag the 500 podcast and then post it on your Instagram stories and give me a 24-hour ad because I want people to know that this shit exists. Well, they're going to find out very soon, so which is dope. All right, July 25th, like I just mentioned, guys, we're having our live 500 at the Just for Laughs Festival. If you're in Canada and close to Montreal and you want to come, it's going to be great. We got a huge guest. I am so excited. Love that festival, and I love doing it live. Hopefully you listened to last week's, which was the Moon Tower one, and you saw how dope it could be. July 17th, guess what happened today, everybody? In 1967, legendary jazz saxophonist John Coltrane dies of liver cancer at the Huntington Hospital in Long Island. He was only 40. Dude, he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, saxophone player of all time. If you haven't heard Giant Steps or A Love Supreme, they are masterpieces and they should be in your collection, okay? I love jazz so much. I cannot wait until we get to Kinda Blue because I'm just going to have all these bar mitzvah and wedding DJing stories to talk about. We've got time, though, okay? Before we get into the record, a little bit about it. Echo and the Bunnymen were formed in Liverpool, England in 1978. Similarly to their post-punk contemporaries, The Cure and Joy Division, the band took the youthful energy and dissatisfaction of punk, added some groove and backbeat, and conceptualized dark gothic and existential themes. Them motherfuckers, they sing about Camus? They singing about Camus. They singing about Nietzsche? Beyond good and evil, thus spoke Zarathustra. But unlike some of the other bands of that era with a bleak version of what life looked like, Echo and the Bunnymen seemed to find some redeeming hope and light. Now, if you are a casual fan of this band and you know some of the hits like Bring On the Dancing Horses or like Lips Like Sugar or any of those, congratulations, Fleece Army. None of those are on this record. Instead, Heaven Up Here took the themes and tones I mentioned and crafted a solid collection of moody, psychedelic, and sonically powerful songs that became the foundation on which to build those hits. And I can assure you that this record gets better with repeated listenings. I hit about 22. It was on 22 times. That's how many times I listened to it. So I feel like I am a masterclass in the Echo and the Bunnymen. My guest this week is such an incredibly cool fucking person, a hysterical comedian, an incredible podcaster. You know her from her incredibly successful podcast, Guys We Fucked. Ladies and gentlemen, Krystina Hutchinson. She was not a huge fan of Echo and the Bunnymen, and she was in town, and I was like, I feel like you'd like this. And I sent it to her, and we dug in and got down and dirty on the podcast tip. Don't forget to listen to the end of the podcast, guys, where we spotlight a new artist that was directly influenced by Echo. Also, rate, review, and subscribe to the 500. Follow me at Josh Adam Myers on all social media and email this podcast at 500podcast@gmail.com. For all things 500, go to our website, the500podcast.com. Well, guys, you know what time it is. Here we go with number 463 out of 500 with Heaven Up Here by Echo and the Bunnymen. Krystina Hutchinson, Krystina Hutchinson, Krystina. That's a hard one to figure out which one to sing you into. This is not an album of like catchy choruses at all.
That was beautiful. The vibrato was great.
So you're a passive fan of Echo and the Bunnymen, right?
Yes.
Because when I reached out to you, like, tell me about your history with this band.
I mean, it's not much. I think I love the era. The Smiths, I fucking love.
Like everybody loves the Smiths, but
right.
me.
But but they had similar sound. I thought they had a similar sound.
I completely agree with that.
But I like Echo and the Bunnymen more now that I know. Now that I've dove into them, I never listened to albums front to back like you're supposed to.
Really?
And I did with this album, and it was very enjoyable.
So then what do you usually listen to? Like, what is, you said some Brit pop, but like, give me, like, throughout your life, who are the big influences?
Honestly, the Nirvana, I fucking love. I love all their Unplugged. I mean, my music taste is pretty basic, bitch. I love Neutral Milk Hotel.
Basic bitch music on Sirius 97.
Yeah. I love Neutral Milk Hotel.
It's just nonstop. Give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it.
And then Mariah Carey. No. I listen to that a lot.
Yeah, that's basic bitch music. A little bit Mariah.
Perhaps not, but I'm being too self-deprecating. But yeah, I'm in a weird headspace. But I think Neutral Milk Hotel is one of my favorite bands. LCD Sound System, Fleet Foxes, I love. Colleen Green is
Never
a great
heard
artist.
Of Colleen Green. But.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't. She's just a newer artist that I fucking love. Anna Wise, another one of those kind of similar ilk. Fucking Deep Valley, I love. I'm trying to be all cool now and say things that you probably don't know.
I like that. It's like,
but I do love these artists.
There's something about like listening to pop music, and then there's also something about digging in and finding those artists and albums. Like, I always refer to this guy, Brandon Butler. Nobody knows who he is. He's a DC musician. He made two of my favorite records that I've ever heard.
Shit.
And so it's like, and I try to get his name out as best as I can. Completely different than what we are listening to this week.
Yes.
So let's dive into this. Our album is number 463 out of 500. It's the sophomore album, Heaven Up Here by Echo and the Bunnymen, released on May 30th, 1981, produced by Hugh Jones and Echo and the Bunnymen. And I feel like I'm calling him, it's Bunnyman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm making him Jewish. It's like, oh, you mean Bunnymen?
Oh no, it is Bunnymen. You're right. It's Bunnymen.
It is Bunnymen.
Multiple Bunnymen.
Yeah, but I'm giving it like a very like, Semitic flair to it. Oh,
Yeah.
the Bunnymens, they're great people. They live down the street. We're going over there for Purim. So what did you think of this record, though?
I loved it. It came at a great time. I'm glad you assigned this one to me because I feel like this guy's real tortured inside, as though I feel this current moment, or for the past couple months. But I love an emotional man.
Yeah.
I love, oh God. And this was that. And somebody who was just like wailing his feelings out into the mic with his lyrics. I love the lyrics. There's a lot of songs. I mean, I took specific notes.
Good.
I don't know
That's
if you
so
want to get...
No. We'll get into the songs.
Yeah.
But so overall, was this kind of what you were expecting from Echo? Because listen, when you say Echo and the Bunnyman, I was
Like
expecting it to be like that British, like, oh, we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
Then we're living on the edge of town. That's what I was like expecting. This was kind of that, but I was expecting it to be far happier.
It was darker than I thought.
Way darker
Thank
than I was
God.
expecting.
Yeah.
So what, you were in the mood for this?
Yes, I was. I'm kicking a pill addiction. And
Yeah,
when one does that, you realize feelings are going to pop up that you've been, suppressing with the pills,
Yeah.
Adderall specifically. And so I'm very feely. And I usually am very feely anyway, even on Adderall.
Yeah.
But just feelings are popping up and I'm letting them flow in and out of me. But this was this was great because I've been driving around a lot because I'm not drinking right now.
Yeah.
And I've been, it's like I want so desperately to be seen, but then I don't. I'm driving a red Corvette and I'm blasting music. The windows are down and I'm just blasting music. But I've been blasting this album.
You're blasting this.
I want, yeah.
People are like Jesus Christ.
Didn't
I
expect
think
that.
the girls from Guys We Fucked is suicidal. God.
Is there a knife in the car with
That's
her?
a nice car, though. That's
Yeah.
a really nice car.
And that's like
Just take off. I'm not gonna say I wasn't expecting it to be like, I thought it was gonna be very British, and it was. But
it wasn't as whimsical.
Exactly. That's a perfect
To
word
die
to use.
by your side.
Yeah, because you mentioned the Smiths.
Mm-hmm.
The Smiths are whimsical.
Yes.
They're very, the guy with the thorn in his, like,
Yeah.
they're very like it's still kind of whiny. To a point, I don't want to call it, but this was just had a far, whereas the Smiths lyrics are what really makes the music dark.
Mm-hmm.
This, everything about it had like a dark cloud over it.
I think the Smiths are, like, if I make a comparison, the Smiths would threaten suicide but never mean it, but like Echo and the Bunnymen with this album would actually mean it.
100%. Oh, 100%.
They wouldn't dangle that carrot in front of you. They would just do it. They probably wouldn't tell anybody.
So I did enjoy this.
Yeah.
I did enjoy this record. It took a little bit for me to really get into it, but then once it clicked, I was like, okay, and I've danced to a bunch of the songs that we're going to get into. So before we begin the record review, here's journalist-author Mark Cooper describing Ian McCullough's lyrics. He's quoted saying, "The one constant in Mac's lyrics is a sense of betrayal, of a broken promise, of the disappointment that comes from seeing humans betray their potential over and over. Mac dreams of things being right, of finding life as he dreams it might be, only to find it wrong." Wow. Ian himself said, "I suppose the songs are always about the possibility of something great, and then the breakdown of trust or the breaking up of possibilities." And after listening to this, I can kind of agree with that. I mean, I started listening to some of the hit songs from Echo and the Bunnymen, but like I said, I can hear all the influences. I hear you too. A lot of this reminded me of Gang of Four. I don't know if you've been following along with the podcast, then you definitely know who Gang of Four is. But overall, it's for me, it's like I'm not depressed right now or dealing with a lot. So it's like it didn't get me in the mood that it got you. Mm-hmm. So I can completely understand. I'm so happy that I had you listen to this.
Me too.
Like 100%. All right, let's dive into the record.
Okay.
All right, first song, it opens with Show of Strength. Mm-hmm. Okay, on this, like many others on the record, the pounding drums sound almost tribal. And I want to point out that the drummer, Pete DeFreitas, was only 19 when he played on this record.
Shit.
Yeah, they're young guys. Right off the bat, like I said, you can hear U2. I heard Simple Minds. Here, Peter, play 58 seconds in.
It's always a funny thing. No, sadly, things just get in the way.
100%, I hear the edge from U2's guitar with the way that he's like clashing on it. It's 100% British. 100% British, just the whining, everything. But even though, like other songs in this record, the lyrics are a bit vague, this song appears to be about infidelity and dishonesty in a relationship. Here's sample lyrics. Bonds will break and fade, a snapping all into the lies that bind and tie come sailing out of you.
I listened to that song and I was like, someone's been fucked over. I'm on board.
According to Ian, it's about trying to be honest with yourself, even though you know you're a dishonest turd. It's about somebody obvious, and it's about me. Mostly it concerns people who pretend they've got guts and passion when they have it, when they try to get it from someone else. What are your experiences on either side of infidelity?
Both. I've been all of the things.
You have?
Yes. My first relationship, I was cheated on. 15. Well, I was 16 when I found out about it. Cried in the street, in the rain, in the middle of the street. Very dramatic. And then 2 boyfriends later, I was cheated on. I've cheated on the middle boyfriend in between the cheated. I slept with somebody, but I told him I made out with somebody. I called him the next day. He was a famous person, so I was like, oh, maybe it's not as okay. But I said I made out with this person.
Wait, the guy that you hooked up with was famous?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's all right.
Right? I'm like, no, that doesn't count. But when I told...
I mean, it was Gilbert Gottfried, but I mean...
Josh, I told you it was the one thing I didn't want to talk about.
I'm sorry about that.
So when I told my boyfriend at the time, I told him I hooked up, which to me didn't mean sex. And I told him who the person was. He's like, really? Sick. I'm like, okay, this relationship isn't going anywhere.
Really? Like he was
He's a fan of this person.
He wasn't. You know what's funny?
But he didn't think I fucked him, so...
Yeah, I guess making out. But all right, I totally in my lane with that. Same situation. I was dating this girl, and we had broken up. It seemed like we were going to get back together. And then her friend convinced her to go on holiday with Edgar Wright.
Whoa.
Do you know who Edgar Wright is?
The actor?
No, the director of Shaun of the Dead.
Ooh.
He directed, what was the one that was Baby Driver?
Oh, Jesus. That's a great movie.
And she ended up fucking him on the trip. She said she wasn't gonna, but she fucked him.
But you weren't together, but you were going to get back together.
We were still, I don't know.
That in between?
We were in the in-between.
Where you could give each other shit?
Yeah, but that was the thing that I was like, out of all the people you could have fucked, like, I can't. Like, I love this guy's movies, man. Like, I can't
How
watch
was
it.
his dick?
But I mean, he took her to Big Sur.
Wow.
He gave her like a whole weekend.
He rolled out the red carpet.
He really did, and I mean, was the guy like on that level or bigger?
Kind of, yeah, I would say in the TV realm.
TV realm.
SNL alum.
Do you usually, I mean, like, does that turn you on if
Yes.
somebody is very successful?
Yes. Oh yeah, because to me that means you saw something, you wanted to get it, you got it, and you're crushing it. But yeah, I don't like loser guys. But to me, a loser I defined as somebody's not living up to their potential or doesn't have any goals.
Yeah.
My one boyfriend kind of long time ago kind of started down that losery path of like not really wanting to do anything with his life, and I was like, I can't. If you're not moving at a fast pace, I'm out.
All right, let's go into the second song on the record, With a Hip. Now, do you have any thoughts on it? Do you want to hear it first? What do you want to do?
Let's hear it.
Do you want to hear it? All right, here, we're going to play 1 minute and 20 seconds in. This is definitely a head bobber.
Yeah.
It's more of the same of literally the last song, but this definitely made me get up and like dance with the dog in like a Charlie Brown hipster style. It's no secret that Ian McCullough and the band were huge fans of Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground because you can hear it throughout not just this whole album, but especially in this song. And that part is probably my favorite part on the whole album because they're layering. There's like you have Ian singing and then you have somebody else and they're laying over each other, yet it sounds like it's clashing and one singing a little bit slower. Do you have any thoughts?
I like their bass lines. They're very on the prowl. I just imagine like a guy like just like creeping up on someone. But
It's kind of pounding. It's like
yeah.
it's got a very intense flair to it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, sample lyrics because this part is so great. With a hip hip hop and a flip flip flop, gonna steal some bananas from the grocer's shop. With your head in the clouds and your trousers undone, gonna shit on the carpet just like everyone. I mean, that's lyric gold.
Yeah, like hearing the lyrics just read, it's a little whimsical, but with the music, it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's very dark.
I want to know who's shitting on the carpet. That's what I really want to
Shit.
know. Is this what the band? Is that what bands do? Shit on carpet?
Probably this band.
Apparently, this is about an overwhelming acid trip that Ian McCullough had taken. Now, he explained this later. It's about knowing your limitations. It's nothing to do with hipness, although I like the idea that people might think it is. I like when people analyze the words and get something out of them. That's a compliment. Now, you have a podcast that is hugely successful with our good friend Corinne Fisher called Guys We Fucked. And it's not just hip, but it's open-minded. It's forward-thinking and talking about liberating experiences. You two have talked about so many subjects that could be considered taboo or uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
What, if any, limitations would you put on show topics?
Zero. We came to the table, meaning we started the podcast saying the one thing we didn't want to talk about was dick size.
So it really started with you guys wanted just to talk about the people that you fucked.
To the people we fucked. Yes, exactly. We just wanted to have that conversation. Because when are you going to have that conversation? Like some of these people, I'm so glad we started this podcast for many reasons. But at first,
You're driving a Corvette here. Like
That's
for
true.
many.
yeah,
many
that's one of the
reasons.
reasons. But when we first started it, we didn't know anybody was going to listen because we truly didn't think anybody was going to listen. I'm like, honestly, if anything, this is really cool to have these conversations because I learned about things that I made assumptions over during the time we were either dating or hooking up or whatever it was that I got wrong. And I think I learned to kind of push people away. This one guy, I swore I broke up with him, or I swore he broke up with me. And he came on the podcast. He's like, no, you broke up with me. And then I thought about it. And I'm like, I didn't think that I was worthy of him. So I pushed him away.
Really?
And then I broke up with him.
I've done that a million times.
Yeah.
So what topics won't you cover? There's nothing?
There's nothing. We've covered pedophilia, rape all goddamn day.
Yeah, you showed me that. You once showed me like an email that somebody had written to you. Because you get a lot of people that are like, they're explaining to you and they want to tell you how much you've helped them get through serious times. And I mean, the story was insane. Like she was like raped by her family.
Her dad gave her 2 abortions with clothes hangers. Yeah, by the time she was 10. Is this one? She was gang raped on her 10th birthday by her dad and her friends.
Yeah, that's just.
That's one of the most intense things I've ever read in my life. Yeah. And that's when I started pulling back from the email inbox because my mental health.
Maybe slide into the suicide prevention hotline DMs. Because
That chick was actually like totally fine.
Really?
Like we summarized the email on the podcast because I was like, I don't want to read it because it was she went into detail, which I was honored that she felt comfortable sharing that, but I didn't want to fuck up anybody else's day. And we talked about just basically what she had said, and she wrote us because she heard us summarize it, and she goes, just so you guys know, I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. I got a great job. I'm happy. And I'm like, fuck, man.
I mean, that's
resilience.
That's what you have to do. It's like you can't the scars, that you carry, like they're scars, and you should be, you should remember and appreciate that because those are the things that got you to where you are, and hopefully she's in a better place now. I'd assume
certainly
anything
is.
would be better than the situation she was in.
Yeah, she ran away and got then was in foster care after that.
Really?
Yeah, that's how she escaped the gang rape that was planned on her 10th birthday by her father and her father's friends.
I mean, that's a they could have
went
just
to a
gone
grocery store.
They could have just gone to McDonald's, had a birthday party there.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the ball pit.
Fucking losers.
All right, Over the Wall. Peter, play the chorus.
Over the Wall is one of my favorite songs. I think a lot of his lyrics, you were reading a quote from him earlier, people take different things from it. It's like a painting. Somebody looks at one painting and they see something exciting and whimsical, and somebody else could look at that same painting and based off their life experiences, they see something terrifying.
Sure.
So Over the Wall, I really liked because I've said this in these words that I feel like with the drug addiction thing, I am over the wall. I'm over that hump of holding myself accountable and talking about it and telling my friends. And it's way better on this side. And then also too, I thought of that, how I think of a relationship when you're dating somebody and you don't really know what it is yet, and you're going to have that conversation
About what you guys are going to do.
Yeah.
Are we a couple? Are
Exactly.
we going to go further?
in my head, I always think of like, let's go, like take my hand and let's jump off the cliff, or let's go over this wall, because I feel like it's going to be way better on that side of the wall. So that's the other thing that made me, the lyrics made me think of. I like this song a lot.
So I like this one too. The music sounds very squirrely. Kind of desperate, but with all the talk of monkeys on backs and slugs on neck and people in rooms talking about solution, make it sound like the thoughts of a drug addict in a rehab, or like a patient in an insane asylum trying to escape. Now, you mentioned, that you are dealing with something, coming off of something right now.
Yeah.
So this is your first issue with any substances, or how did that come about?
Not wanting to feel feelings. When I was a kid, my mom is bipolar, and I grew up my household. I had to deal with a lot of adult emotions as a child, which fucked me up, which will fuck any child up.
Sure.
And I developed these defense mechanisms so that I could survive. Like hearing certain things and seeing certain things that I saw in my childhood were so scarring. My mom was on overly medicated, and the medications made her do crazy things. I remember maybe when I was 5 years old, she was having a screaming fight with my older brother, and she threw a hammer at his head, and he ducked. And he
At your
missed.
brother?
Yeah,
wow.
and I saw that. No one talked about it.
Like a little
Like a giant
the one
hammer.
Andy Dufresne had in fucking
No.
a big hammer.
A hammer, a carpenter's hammer. And no one talked about it. My dad wasn't there, so he didn't know that I saw it. And just I had to somehow be okay after that. And so you develop these defense mechanisms. One of the defense mechanisms I developed was not feeling. So when that happened, I would just distract myself and not even think about it ever again. But those feelings are still going to live in you and linger. So
You never dealt with that.
No. But then I discovered Adderall, and there's this show Euphoria on HBO that we've talked about briefly.
Yeah, I saw you post about it, and I was like, "Is that good? Because I look too old for that. I feel like I'm going to be too old.
You would
for,
love this
for
show.
Zendaya's show."
It's a lot about drug addiction, and
I'm all in.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
I haven't watched
Josh
it yet,
would love
but
this.
right now I'm trying to finish The Last Tsars, which is about the Russian Revolution and the Romanovs.
Ooh, cute and light.
Yeah, it's very chill.
Yeah.
It's taken me 3 weeks to watch 2 episodes, because
Oh,
every
good.
time I put it on, I fall asleep. But I'll get to Euphoria and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's about drug addiction. The Zendaya's character Rue said something that, like, a lot of things that are said in the show really hit too close. But she's like, when I found opioids, basically, I found the feeling I've been searching for my whole life. And so I realized the feeling that I've been searching for my whole life, in quotes, because it doesn't do you any good, is the ability to not feel feelings. So Adderall was like a button that I could just press, and I didn't have to do any work not to feel. I just took the pill. And then my relationship of 7 years with my ex, the last 3 years of that, I was so extremely unhappy. But instead of coming to terms with it and dealing with it, I would just pound Adderall and be fine with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Adderall did. But I've never had a abuse problem. Not drinking has not been that hard, luckily.
Yeah,
it's not that hard for me to not drink.
You had said you'd gotten into like drugs later in life.
Yeah.
Like Molly, we were talking about that.
Yeah, well, so one of the things this past year, I went on an ecstasy bender, where I was popping it every weekend for a couple months. And this guy that I was seeing, who's now like one of my really close friends, but he was coming out of a relationship, and he was dealing with those feelings, and we were both in fucked up places. And there were so many nights where we would be at my house wasted, and at 5 a.m. and he'd be like, "Do you want to do?" And I knew he meant ecstasy because he knew I had it. And I'm like, yes. I didn't even let him finish the sentence. And we'd be like, do ecstasy at 5 a.m. Like, what the fuck?
mean,
and have great sex. I mean, you know.
Yeah, dude. It's like if you have somebody, ecstasy is fantastic if you have somebody to snuggle. You know, and it's just the two
Totally.
of you guys, and you can
Right.
maybe get some Vicks Vapor Rub, do a freeze down.
Oh, shit.
I used to do that. The freeze down is where you take the Vicks Vapor Rub inhaler, and then you I'd put it in my mouth, but reverse, and then blow it into your eyes, and then do this this weird finger thing on your forehead.
Whoa.
And you do it to one person, and then everybody else, all the other etards see you, and they're like, "Oh man, can you do that to me too?" And I'm like, "Come on!" And next thing you know, you got a line of 12 people.
You should charge for that shit. Damn.
Yeah, well, you know, they'd bump me up. They'd figure out a way to get me back. Maybe I'd get a pill from them, or maybe, you know, some ketamine. Everybody knows I love ketamine. Or I loved. But what was it that got you to want to stop the Adderall? Did something happen?
Accumulation of things. I've always known deep down. I've known deep down for the past 2 years that I need to stop. But I thought some thoughts that I had with myself have included, I guess I'm just gonna do this till the day I die. Like, I'm never gonna stop. Like, once I realized, oh shit, I'm never gonna stop this. I don't think that was scary.
Yeah.
So I felt guilt basically the second I realized that until I quit, which was 2 years. And I was impatient with friends and family, and I don't like acting like that at all. That's not who I am. And I was less funny. I would interrupt people during interviews on the podcast. It was very embarrassing. It definitely isn't as bad as I think it was in my head, but yeah. And then this guy that I was seeing, who I really I don't know. We just have this crazy bond. It's very unique where we're very honest with each other about every little tiny thing. It's really cool. And he's just very, he kind of lets me break down, and I'll freak out a little bit, which I don't often do, but he doesn't care at all. And I've never felt comfortable doing that in front of somebody. And especially because I would usually get some sense of judgment from that person, which is okay. But he truly was like, that's who you are today. That's okay. And so I ended up telling him, and yeah, I don't know. I just, one of the things that Adderall would do is it would make me focus so much, because that's what that drug does to you, that I would focus on a guy way too much and come in way too heavy, way too intense and hard. And I really like you. Do you want to be my boyfriend?
Yeah, you'd
It's
have mice and men him. You'd just be like, so pretty, and you strangle the shit out of it.
Exactly. And I'm a cool chick when you get to know, but then when you go hard like that, no one fucking wants. I don't care if you're fucking Halle Berry. No one wants that.
I used to
maybe
be
if you're
like
Halle
that.
Berry.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would be, if Halle Berry came after me, that would be fucking dope.
Of course it
I would. You know what? I sit here, and say that would scare me off if it's the right girl. If it's the right girl coming at you hard, and you're just in, because if you're in that mood, dude. There was one chick I dated that literally within the first week she told me she loved me. And I was just like, well, I mean, I guess I can see myself loving her, so I love you too. And then I moved in, and we were together for 3 years, and now she's married to Tommy Lee. So yeah, dude, that's
hell yeah,
life's dope.
Rock on.
Well, I'm really fucking proud of you that you got off the Adderall, man.
Thanks.
It's a hard decision especially when you're dependent on it, and you have the means to get it as much as you do.
Yeah.
So,
Just to, because I don't want to fucking be fake, but I'm weaning off of it. So now I was taking up to 70 milligrams a day, and now it's 20.
Just keep going lower.
Yeah,
and
that's
keep
exactly
going
what I'm
lower.
doing. I'm on week 2, and then by next week I'll be off of it. I'm really excited.
Good for you. I'm serious. Good for you.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, that goes into song 4. It was a pleasure.
Let's get rid of the shit. I know you like that too.
I see what you're saying about the bass, man. The bass definitely is a power player in this band. I love that part of the song so much. I love when everything drops out. It's just the drums and the bass after all those, that angular guitar and just this is so Gang of Four. So Will Sargent's angular guitars and Les and Pete's rhythm section really showcase a lot of what the post-punk's ability to somehow create funk without soul, because that's what they're doing. You could see Red Hot Chili Peppers taking a little bit from this band.
Yeah.
And it's about getting all the bullshit out of the way during the first handshake, so both parties are dealing with the real truth and can proceed accordingly. Ian admitted it was him protecting the band. It was written because I thought we were going to get slagged. It was like a pre-backlash thing. We know it's tough to be a female in this industry, right? Have you had to deal with unscrupulous business people?
Certainly that. I don't think it's because I was a woman. I actually think it's to one's advantage to be a woman in this industry because it's mostly not women. So that makes you unique right out of the gate. I think the only time where, when you're starting out, if you're like a young chick, sometimes you'll get booked on things by a guy who wants to fuck you. But I mean, who gives a shit?
Doesn't mean you have to fuck them.
Well,
you know what I mean?
One, yes,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. But also, I noticed that this is what happens when there's one chick on the lineup and she's not good. A lot of times she's booked prematurely for the show because the guy wants to fuck her. So, in terms of the pace at which you grow, it's the same.
Yeah.
I like being a woman in a mostly male industry. I fucking love it. I think it's great. I just like being anything that makes me unique is a in my book.
100%.
But we've gotten offered things by television networks, Lifetime, and where we got offered like a straight to series thing, and then we're like, really? We only had a general with you. That was the last time we spoke months ago. Even our agents were like, yeah, okay. And because people want the effect of the podcast, they love and they want to gravitate towards, but then when we actually start working together, they're like, you can't say rape, you can't say you can't say all these things. I'm like, have you listened to Guys We Fucked? Because that's the name of the podcast. So I'm really sick of that, but that happened a lot in the beginning, not anymore, thankfully.
Yeah, well, now you have much more power and control because you
Yeah.
built something. I mean, right at the beginning, it's like, if Lifetime comes out to you with like a series offer, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
Oh, can we go on after like the wife murders her husband TV show that you show every fucking day?
I'm in denial that my husband pushed me down the stairs.
All right, A Promise, track 5. This is the only single released worldwide from this record and probably the most accessible song on the album. This is probably, in my opinion, the most British song I might have ever heard. Just lots of wailing. Peter, hit me with a quick A Promise.
Said something will change. We were both dressed up, somewhere to go. No sign of rain.
You can see that there's like, I know they're contemporaries with U2, I think, but it's got a very, very U2. Even in his presentation of the way he's singing, it sounds like Bono.
Yeah.
A little bit. It sounds like it's about being let down by someone after trusting them, or maybe it's about being the one that makes it difficult to keep promises to. Ian broke it down when he said, it's about frustration, really. I just thought I'd had certain morals and principles since I was 13 or 14, and I carried them through, but things change. It becomes evident when you realize you've changed that the promise wasn't kept. What has been your biggest disappointment as you've gotten older?
That's a heavy fucking question. My biggest disappointment is certainly in myself. I think that I liked this song a lot. It was a little complainy, but I really clung. Whenever anybody promises that nothing will change, that's just physically, it's impossible. Everything will always change. So you can't say that. But what the lyrics mean to me is like, people are so fucking afraid of change. So my biggest disappointment in life is that I've held myself back because I was afraid of change. I'm disappointed that I didn't quit the Adderall earlier because this is way better. And I'm funnier and I feel more connected to people and life and all this shit. But whenever anybody says nothing's going to change, you shouldn't even be allowed to say that because that's never the case. People are so terrified and resistant to change that they'll say something as outwardly foolish as that, which I'm guilty of. So I understand the notion, but that's why I resonate with the lyrics of this one.
So you fought, you used to fight change? Is that what you're saying?
All the time. But it's so silly because anytime I've ever been scared of something, it's always because change was ahead, and it's always been for the better. You can't learn without change. I stayed in a relationship too long because I was afraid of change.
Oh, so many.
And my ex told me, he threw that back at me, and he said, I didn't think anything was going to change with you when you got big or something. I'm like, fuck you. First of all, I never said that.
Yeah.
Second of all, that's not how life works.
Yeah.
Things change.
Things do, and they have to. That's like, you have to change. It's like the only thing that makes you a more complete person.
That's what
Is
evolving is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the amount of change that I've done in the last 2 years. I mean, it's just it's night and day. It's like when I feel myself going back to that old side, like I recognize it, and then I catch it, and then I cut it off.
Yeah, that's great.
So really, really great song, by the way. And by the way, you can totally hear early elements of what would work out way more successfully on their 1983 single, The Cutter, all over this. Peter, play a little bit of The Cutter for me. All right, Heaven Up Here. This is the title song from the album, and it was about dealing with the perceived hipness of them by fans and the press that the band thought was bullshit. Ian contradicted himself when he said, "We're an attack against hipness, although I do think we're the hippest band in the world." And you can hear him lampooning the band's swirly psychedelica during the "we're all groovy people" part. My favorite part, though, is the ending when it goes completely haywire. Peter, play minute 2, second 44.
I didn't know that it was about people's perception, his fans' perception of him, or what fame is. You said,
yeah,
that's interesting. That I can relate to on a small scale, because I feel like people come up to us a lot and they like throw things at us of like, well, you probably think this, or you probably. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, people who listen to the podcast and are fans of Corinne and I's kind of throw stuff on us where they're assuming they think they know what it's like. A lot of Reddit threads about us complaining about, quote, being like famous or whatever. And I'm like, no, man. Like, it's just not. I think fame is so interesting, and I've only have like this tiny little level of it, but it's I can't imagine being like fucking Tom Hanks.
And just having everybody know who you are.
Yeah. But it's cool to have people who like your work and dig you for who you are. Like, my work is just who I am, which is fortunate, I think. But like, Corinne and I get recognized a lot, and it's weird, and it's cool, and it's always by people who are just good people. I've never had a bad experience with that, except once when I was in Times Square. But yeah, it's cool. I liked that. So I didn't know that's what that song was about.
So you're saying people think that you think you're more famous than you are? Is that what you're saying? Or they're like, no. So how are you different from the image people have of you?
I'm not, well, honestly, the main thing is I don't eat and breathe sex. Like, they only hear us talk about sexuality because the podcast has a theme, but I like doing a lot of other things. We're much more versatile than just fucking. So that's been something that people are like, oh yeah, I guess you don't really, all you do is have sex. Like, that's kind of.
But you are a very sexual person, though,
yes,
right?
Very sexual, and sex is important to me. But you gotta preserve it, and it has to be like, I think the taboos of sex. It's kind of nice that they're a little taboo, because I don't want, like, if it was just like everyday Joe Schmo sex is like involves hitting and slapping. I'm like, well, you can't. It's like you can't have a cupcake every day. You're gonna get sick of cupcakes, and get diabetes. So I think one thing, like, Corinne and I, we didn't think a shitload of people were going to listen to the podcast, so we just kind of word vomited our thoughts and feelings into the microphone, and then we realized, oh, maybe pull back the reins just a little. Like, not everyone has to know everything.
How fast did it take off?
We about a month into the podcast being out there in the world, we got our first press piece we were interviewed by the Daily Beast, and the title of the article is "The Podcast Too Hot for iTunes," because iTunes they rejected our application beyond the thing, and they wouldn't tell us why. And we tried to reach out to them many, many, many times. That's a good headline. And I think with the name Guys We Fucked, people hear it no matter what the reaction is. Oh, they're horrors, or oh, that's hilarious, or oh, that sounds interesting. They check it out, and we deliver when you check out the podcast. It's a good podcast. And so that, I think that really that was the start. That was the domino thing.
So a month in, but when did it really just? So a month.
There was
in it popped?
there was waves. A month in, truly, it popped because once you get if the name is in front of you, you're going to check it out.
Sure.
So we've experienced these giant waves of new listeners because word of mouth to me is the strongest form of advertisement you can ask for because somebody really genuinely loves it. And if multiple people around you are talking about it, you're going to check it out. That's how I check things out.
Sure.
So that every time we would get press about us, we would just get this new wave of audience members and listeners. So yeah, it's been fun.
All right. Song 7, The Disease. Okay. Remember when I said the other song was the most British song ever?
My life's the disease.
Yeah, this song is as British as it gets. Now, this is a really short one, and it sounds like a poem set to music, like something from The Doors, Jim Morrison release, an American Prayer album. But I fucking love this song. Play minute 1, second 49, Peter.
You get your from heaven. Don't waste them.
Oh, you probably loved that with what you're dealing with right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
That digga,
Yeah.
and you're just
Very
fucking...
rage. I've been listening to a lot of System of a Down, a lot of Rage, a lot of other. That's the other music I've been listening to this week so far. So it's a good
something
compliment.
good that I want to recommend. When I was going through the real heavy opiate detox post the car accident I was in, and I got sober. I think I was on day 2, and I started listening to a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers, but like era, like I remember like it was Under the Bridge, and then it was at the new album at the time. It was I can't remember it. It was the one after John Frusciante left. I guess their newest album. I think it's called I'm Something Something. But dude, sitting in my car listening to Under the Bridge, just like weeping.
Yeah.
Weeping. So I completely understand what you're going for. All right, this is sort of a textbook, grandiose, existential, mopey goth stuff. He even uses the word twixt, which is short for betwixt, which is already an affected way of saying between. Now, according to Ian, I wrote The Disease as a kind of anthem for the Liverpool suppressed, for those who see their potential in human terms and not in terms of having or not having a job. What chance are you grateful for not wasting?
Oh, I wanted to move to New York City so I could intern for Saturday Night Live. I knew no one at the show, and I was comfortable in my world at Penn State University, and I was. I created that own chance for myself, but I was terrified to take it, and I convinced myself to do it. I fought myself, punched myself in the face, metaphorically.
Really?
To go, yeah.
Did you drop out of college?
No, I transferred schools to Marymount Manhattan in New York City.
Okay.
But I was like, I just had the thought popped into my head one day. It goes, you want to be on SNL? Intern for them. And then one of the parts of me were like, yeah, you have to do that. And every other part of me fought that part. And I figured out a plan to do it. And then I was like, there's your opening.
Well, Philly
Fucking do it.
But Philly's not that far away from New York. It's not like it's that big of a move. I mean, it's a big move. But
I've never lived in a city. I lived in the Philadelphia suburbs, Doylestown, cozy ass.
Oh, you're
suburbs.
from Doylestown?
Yeah.
Why don't you have the Philly accent? Why aren't you
Because I went to school for acting and I got taught standard stage
Oh,
dialect.
you mean Echo and the Bunnymen?
Yeah.
I love
Hey,
it.
We're gonna go get a hoagie.
You want to go get a hoagie? Let's go. But dude, put on the new Echo and the Bunnymen. I love Echo.
I love the Philly accent, but I don't have it. But yeah, that is a Doylestown and a fucking half. Yeah, so I'm glad I did that. I just fucking saw the opening and I took it and I took the chance and I fucking one of the best moves of my life.
Yeah, but you had to get fucking out of Doylestown.
But I didn't want to. I was comfortable. I was at Penn State.
How old were you?
I was 18.
18 years old. That's
Yeah,
still
never
baby.
lived in a city. Sheltered by a mother who's overbearing.
So were they supportive at all?
No. Well, outwardly yes, but my mom was so terrified that she went into a deep dark depression over it.
But that's just regular mom at this point,
At
right?
this
You're
point,
just like,
yes,
All
but
right, mom. You know.
Yeah,
She's
but I never
crying
got good at dealing with it.
She's crying hysterically. You're like, Mom, it's.
If I had Adderall at the time, I would have been able to deal with it, but I didn't. So I wasn't able to not be affected by her.
No, I get it. All right. All My Colors, also known as Zimbo. Very powerful song. I really think that the Yeah Yeah Yeahs borrowed the opening of this for their song Maps. So, Peter, play the intro to Maps. Now, Peter, play the intro to All My Colors. Can you hear it?
Yeah, this song got me.
This song got you?
Yeah. Just the musicality of it, the music of it. Very
Yeah.
haunting, very eerie.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's the mantra that Zimbo over and over again. They're using it just like it is a mantra. But don't give them too much spiritual cred for using one, because Ian basically said that during rehearsals for this, he was softly singing Jimbo, 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 which is very tongue-in-cheek, because he was crooning like Jim Morrison. When everyone loved it, he obscured it to Zimbo. And he said Zimbo is about the loss of someone and the fact that people hold on to things that have already gone. He also called it our first soul song, the first song where we proved we could connect emotionally. So did you connect emotionally?
Oh, yeah.
To this song?
Yeah, through the music, yes. Yeah, everything about the song. Every choice that they made hit a nerve.
No, I feel you. So have you dealt with a lot of loss? Like what's been your most profound loss?
No, I haven't. I've not dealt with death very much at all.
Really?
Grandparents died either when I was too young, or they'd been sick for so long that the death was, thank God. Never had a sudden death in my family or in my friends circle. A couple people that I kind of knew from high school, people from comedy, but none that I was close to. So I think the worst loss that I had was my loss of my innocence when my boobs grew in. And I do mean that.
But wouldn't that be like a proud day? Like that would be like
I didn't want it. No, I didn't want to grow up.
You didn't want titties?
I didn't want double D's. I didn't want to be treated like a woman by grown men when I was 12. That's
Fuck,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, not fun.
You have
Not
back
fun.
problems?
Nah, I have shoulder and neck problems, but I think that's just because trauma.
No,
just emotional.
No, I get it. That's definitely a profound loss.
Yeah, I didn't
especially-
want to be treated like a woman at all.
Yeah.
I wanted to wait way longer than my body was like, no, fuck you, bye.
But how do you handle it now? I mean, now
I wear
that
baggy
you're-
clothes. Well, I wear baggy clothes. That's how I handled it most of the time. And then finally, I don't care. Now I'm ready to feel like a woman, be treated like a woman. Now at 31, I am.
Man, I feel like a woman. All right, No Dark Things. I love the guitars in this song so much. Just jagged strokes. And this is almost like an anti-goth mission statement. It's like wearing black while smiling. And I do love this. Just great song, man. No Dark Things. The shouting of that is incredible. Hold on. Peter, play a little bit of the song for me. Do you have any thoughts?
I liked the title of the song because I looked at all the titles of the song before I listened to the album, and I was like, oh, I love that song because I hate dark things. But by the time I got to that one, I'm like, yeah, I think resistance to change is really like an underlying theme of the album. But yeah.
Well, but it's actually even with a title like that. I mean, it's a very positive song. So how do you stay positive in a world that's so fucked up?
Well, we used to be Adderall. Now I got to rely on my fucking self. I've always been positive. Always. Because the thing is, you can choose to be either one, and I choose positive because that feels better.
Yeah.
I don't like being negative and bitter.
Oh, I completely agree
Feels
with that.
gross.
I used to be negative for years, and
Yeah.
now it's like, like I said, go to the dark side and come back a lot quicker. But it's I started like writing out the way I want things to go, and it's just all the positive shit that I want to happen. And it's like, even if half that stuff happens, it's like, no, I mean, I made this happen by just staying in a positive frame of mind.
Yeah,
And
it's
another-
powerful.
And then another thing to do is when I do start going dark, I free write, where I just write all the negative shit that I feel about myself
Yeah.
or a situation, and you just get it out, and then it's like, all right, good, I've purged myself of it.
Yep.
Now I can go to In-N-Out Burger. You know what I mean?
Thank God.
All right, Turquoise Days. Now, it starts pretty sparsely and reminds me of some of the more experimental Talking Head stuff that was coming out around the same time. And Ian said that Talking Heads were inspiring to them, which makes sense because the build in this song is so powerful to just drop out and start over. I mean, I just love it. And at first I thought this was about keeping positive during an existential panic attack, but it really sounds like a story about a soldier or Marine going off to battle. Ian said it's about the human race today. It's people not understanding everything they do and all the motives for doing things. They think it's for things they love, glory, war, and all of that, but it's not. It's about something else, which I haven't figured out yet. What's your motivation to do what you do?
To feel good, to feel joy, and to feel now it's kind of evolved to making other people or causing other people to realize their potential. Or with Guys We Fucked, I think the effect of it has been really profound for a lot of people, and it's fucking cool to hear about that because, you know, you can change a situation that you're in through something as simple as being honest with yourself and with the people around you. And it makes me so happy that that's all it really takes to incite a positive change in your life. So yeah, that the audience, the fans, listeners keep me going. But also I just want to make something that I'm proud of. That's always what drives me to do anything. And like it's like a puzzle that you get to solve each project. And the clue to what pieces go where it's in your gut.
All right, the album ends with All I Want. Now, this is the final song on the record and very tame for the rest of the record. It wasn't a bad song. I was just expecting more for the finale. After what we had been through in this emotional roller coaster, I would have liked to have a more powerful ending. Maybe not sonically powerful, but lyrically, it ends on a positive note when he says, all I want is love. Peter, play minute 2, second 49.
I liked this as the last song a lot.
Really?
I loved it because I didn't want to be exhausted emotionally anymore. I was tired of that. Like I was tired by the end of the album because I kind of like a lot of these songs put me through it. That I'm glad he ended on that note.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good perspective on it. Maybe I'm changing my opinion. You're right. I see the smile you just gave me. You're like, it was really good. Like,
all I want
by
is
the way,
love.
do you have any Adderall? Ian said that this began as an ad lib and then he built upon that. I love how he says, all is lerve is all I lerve. It's like, it's this Liverpool, like, saucier accent thing. What would be enough for you?
Oh my God. What would be enough? Love. Truly. Being in love would be enough for me.
Have you been in love?
Oh, yeah. I love love. I've been in love many times. And it's been amazing. Yeah. Were you surprised?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out what actual love is. I mean,
okay.
I've dated girls that I've thought I've loved them, and then it's just like there's like the connection that you have is it's just like I never had that.
Well, I'm
just
at
that
a
connection.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I have, and it's powerful and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. But I also have this new thing of not being afraid to say I love you. That one guy I talked about briefly throughout this interview, this guy that we were dating and now we're just really, really close friends. But we said I love you to each other maybe a month in, and we were not, it wasn't very clear where the relationship was going at all. But I really felt that and he really felt it. And when he said it, and I'm like, man, you're not even scared what I'm going to think. You just want to say it. Like saying I love you without being married to what they say back is such a freeing thing.
Yeah.
And I wish more people were comfortable saying I love you and not being scared of what do they think this is going to fucking who cares if you love a person, tell them you love them. It doesn't matter what they say back cuz you're claiming that you love them. That's what this is about. It's not about what they feel back for you. So that indicates, are you just saying it to get a response? You know what I mean?
Yeah, do you think in this day and age though like people are, you know, being more liberal with their I love yous, you know?
But I do, but I think it's cuz maybe that's how you really feel. Because I love people so much, and I feel it right away. And why not say it? Who cares what they say? I love you, Josh.
I love you too.
Thanks.
That's so sweet. Do you want to do some facts?
Yeah.
All right. What's some facts? Facts. This is a hard album to sing the songs like my little shit that I do because there's no melodies. There's melodies, but there's no like chorus. I need one fucking chorus.
No chorus.
All right, the cover of the album, photographed by Brian Griffin of the band, silhouetted on a beach in Wales with a flock of seagulls all around them, was achieved by pouring out buckets of fish guts. What's the craziest thing you've ever done professionally?
Interviewed my boyfriend at the time's porn star ex-girlfriend.
Really?
After being so terrifyingly insecure about it, to the point where I had like 2 sex injuries because I was trying to pretend
You were
that
trying to keep up with a porn star?
Exactly. In my head. This is all in my head. Some of the things he did perpetuate 100%, but
I think it's wait. I just want to stop that for a second. Like for the female porn stars, it's just big noise. Like they don't do anything crazy. The guy is the guy. If he was like the male porn star, like if I'm a male porn star and I gotta fuck, so it's what I mean. There's more work for the guy.
Right,
That's
but
what I'm trying to say.
Stoya, who's a well-known person,
Yeah.
and who's wonderful in sex. The thing is, at the time that I met him, he was not over her and tried to get over her to me, so I heard things that he missed about her that I should not have heard. So that fucked up. That made the insecurity go full speed. And I wasn't advocating for myself like I am. As
What do you mean? Like he would be like,
one of the things he
"Yo,
said
man,
was,
God, Stoya made incredible pasta marinara."
No. Sometimes when we were out in public, she would take my hand and put it up her skirt to let me know how wet I made her. I don't want to fucking know that.
Why would he tell you that?
Because he's a
piece of shit. That's a shitty thing to do.
It was shitty, but at the time I fell for the bait of like, oh, I got insecure about it, and especially then, I wasn't very sexy. I was more goofy, and I like couldn't figure out how to be sexy because I didn't discover that part about myself at that time, and so that was a big insecurity anyway. And then coming to the table with this situation, and then him kind of twisting the knife, and then me feeling all in my head about it. One of the most nervous I've ever been in my life was waiting for her outside the studio.
Just sitting there waiting, like
smoking a pack of cigarettes. Yeah,
because you were just so.
I thought I was going to implode. She's amazing. She's lovely. I'm so glad we interviewed her, but it was very weird. It was very odd, and I didn't know all the things that play at the time. Where my ex kind of pushed me to feel more insecure because of the things he told me. I didn't know that at the time. Looking back, I'm like, oh, I see where the domino trail led, but I didn't know that then.
Everybody, go listen to the Stoya interview. Listen to it because I'm about to.
It's a great episode.
I can't wait to listen to it.
It's called The Stoya Episode.
All right. In his 1999 book, From the Shores of Lake Placid and Other Stories, the band's manager, Bill Drummond, said, "Heaven Up Here, the album is dull as ditch water. The songs are unformed. They sound uniformly gray." So this is a shitty review. What's the worst review you ever got?
Racist.
Really?
That was just press that we got. Worst review? I don't read reviews. I guess we've gotten reviews on the podcast before, but they always make me laugh. Bad reviews never affect me because they're either coming from a place of honesty or they're coming from a personal place on that person's part that's kind of funny. Like sometimes we project shit onto other people, and in the moment we don't know we're projecting, but like when somebody looks on and they know you're projecting, it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Like I just think it's funny. I think human beings are funny that way. So anything negative that's getting said to us, I really do take with like a comical grain of salt.
Oh, you have to.
Because I don't give a fuck what you have to say,
Yeah.
but it's cute that you think I do. And if I hate someone's art, it's not about that person. It's never about that person. It's about me.
You can't read reviews of the work that you do.
I was like, I can read, bitch.
Yeah, I know you can read, but you can't read the
spell.
review. You can't spell for shit.
Nope.
But you can't, like, when I had my first set from Comedy Central posted online, it was from the Comedy Jam. They posted it on YouTube, and one of the comments, the first one was, "This guy's trash." I mean, it was.
That's hilarious.
It is, and I laugh about it. And I remember me and Avery and Jeremiah and Sickler. That's like we talk about it all the time. But it's just like, luckily everybody underneath was like, no, this guy's good. Like, this is good, blah, blah, blah. But it's like all I can remember. I can't remember any of the positive ones.
Oh,
I
right.
can only remember the trash ones.
Yeah, one time when we did Rogan, that was a huge deal for us. Obviously, anybody does Rogan, it's a big deal. Somebody said in the comments that I sounded like I was hopped up on Adderall, and that hurt
and you
my
were
heart.
right.
And he wasn't wrong. That one is the one I remember because there was truth to it. Yeah. But other ones is like, you fucking dumb whore. You should. We've gotten told we should be raped or murdered then raped. Which is a rape after you're murdered? I don't know. But like that shit, I'm like, oh God, you're a loser. If you're commenting on a YouTube video, the odds of you not being a loser are high or low. But because I don't comment on YouTube videos, I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else. But really, the few times I comment is I'll make a Yelp account to make a positive review because I feel like people don't do that as much. And when I really like a place, I think it deserves credit.
Dude, I'm all about the positive reviews.
Yeah.
I've never done a complaint about anything.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to, you said that thing that they knew that you were on Adderall.
Yeah.
Because actually, when that trip when we first like hung out, we were in Philadelphia and then we went to New York. We did the show at the Gramercy, and the next day Burr was headlining Madison Square Garden, and I was loaded on oxys. And I remember I was meeting Paul Verzi's like wife and some of his friends from New York, and this guy's like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Frank. Nice to see you." He's meeting this guy, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Frank." And then he sees me, and he looks at me, and he pulls me in, and he goes, "Dude, are you on oxys?" I'm like, what are you talking? No. And he's like, dude, your pupils are the size of pinholes. I mean, and I was like, oh no, it's just, I took a Xanax, and he just like the rest of the night,
man.
he was like, all right, whatever, man. And he just keeps walking, but it's just like, he knew immediately.
And you probably remember where you were, how it felt, what you were wearing. I mean,
it's, I'm telling it here. It's like, it's stuck with me.
Yep.
And I didn't want, like, first of all, how the fuck nobody knew I was doing painkillers on that trip? You guys are fucking just blank.
No, well, Corinne didn't know that I had a problem, and I'm with her all the time.
Yeah.
We can hide it. Addicts can hide it. If I want to hide something, I'll hide it.
Yeah.
That's why the first thing I did when I came out, I was like, I told everybody I knew, so I'd be held accountable.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Ian McCullough quit the band in 1988, and drummer Pete DeFreitas, God, I love that name, was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident in 1989. Rest in peace, Pete DeFreitas. Will Sargent and Les Pattinson replaced them and put out an album, Reverberation, in 1990, but it wasn't very successful, and the band officially broke up in 1993. Will and Ian worked on other projects alone, and then together as Electra Fiction? That's a weird one. And everyone was treating it like a reunion anyway. They just got former bassist Les Pattinson back and reformed to put out the successful album Evergreen. Are you the kind of person that cuts everything off after a breakup, or can you remain friends and maybe even reconcile?
This last one, I'm gonna cut everything off. I had this pattern of letting people into my life that didn't have any place in my life, but I was like, no, I'll help them. And then once you cut it off, you realize that you were helping them and you get mad at yourself. So it's just a clean cut. Nope, I'm good. I've had 2 friend breakups in my life. Never talked to them since. Because once I get to that point with a friend, we're done. You have fucked me so hard that we're done. With breakups, I wish I could stay friends with exes. This last one, no. But the one before that, no, the 2 before that. We remained friends, and then his girlfriend at the time didn't want him talking to me, and then we rekindled again. So only one.
Yeah, you almost wish that like you could still kind of like call each other and just talk baby talk.
Sometimes, yeah, just a comforting because it's a relationship. That's the closest you're ever going to be to another human being, and then to all of a sudden to go from that to you're dead, basically. I mean, that's horrible. That's drastic. That's
completely. All right, before we go into final thoughts, I'm just gonna say this: that Morty put this as a little special thing to read. In the sleeve notes to their greatest hits, their manager Bill Drummond summed up their career as lies, deceit, hatred, hotel floors, cocaine dealers, transit vans, acid trips, broken amplifiers, American Girls, service stations, loss of innocence, corrupt road crews, missed opportunities, vanity, broken promises, shit gigs, bad sex, crap mixes, late VAT returns, petulance, incompetence, petty rivalry, and Pete DeFreitas dying.
Bummer.
That's a pretty heavy career. What are your final thoughts on this record?
Jesus. Now I'm in a depression coma again. I want to listen to it again. I love it. My final thoughts on this record are that I never would have listened to this record had you not. And I'm so glad I did. And I'm going to be listening to it a lot. I feel like this is something I can listen to in the background, or it's something I can listen to in like a focused state. And I would get different things out of it depending on the mood I'm at when I press play.
All right, so
and I really like that.
So basically, ladies and gentlemen, this is the perfect album to listen to while you're slowly weaning yourself off from Adderall.
Of meth, yeah.
I completely agree with what you're saying. I was actually talking to Adam Egan, and he said this band was supposed to be bigger than U2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
So they didn't, but I think that they were good enough to be on this list, and I definitely feel like it deserves to be on there. Krystina, thank you so much
Thanks, Josh.
for coming on. I think you were supposed to do this episode. You were supposed to find this record, and I'm glad I could be the person to bring that to you.
Me too.
Let's get rid of the shit. I know you like that too. The stuff that undermines the best of me and you.
Krystina Hutchinson. For all things Krystina, go to KrystinaHutchinson.com. That's where you'll find all of her tour dates, and she's on tour, so make sure you go see her. At Krystina Hutch on all social media. So it's Krystina Hutch, not the ensign. So Krystina Hutch on all social media, and make sure you guys listen to Guys We Fucked on Luminary. I'll be posting her mixtape track listing link. And if you want to find that and everybody's mixtapes, go to the website for all things 500, the500podcast.com. Email us at 500podcast@gmail.com. And follow me, guys. I want followers. Hook me up. Follow me at Josh Adam Myers on all social media. Big shows coming up July 25th. We're doing the live 500, like I said, at Just for Laughs Montreal at 5:30 p.m. in the Ovation Room. And on August 20th, the Goddamn Comedy Jam's 5-year anniversary at the Roxy, which actually is this week, but we didn't do a show this month because I'm busy, so it's going to be next month. So happy birthday to the Goddamn Comedy Jam. You'll see Jim Jeffries, Big J Okerson, and Brad Williams, amongst many others. It's going to be a party. Come to the Roxy on August 20th. All tickets you can find on my Instagram page, on the Goddamn Comedy Jam's Instagram page. They're all there. And go to my website, joshadammyers.com. I got to update it. I don't know why I keep saying this. Please subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and leave a review, guys. Leave a review if you're on Apple iTunes. Follow my boy Morty at DJ Morty Coyle and check out the page of him and his daughter singing songs at B and Daddy Cartoons. Now, we just listened to Echo and the Bunnymen from 1981. Well, guess what, baby? There's a new band that's in town that was directly influenced by this album. From Orange County, California, we have Cosmonauts with their song Medio Litro. I really like this song, and I think you guys are going to like it too. If you're in a band and you want your music played at the end of the 500, send it to us. Tell us the album that influenced you and send it to the email 500podcast@gmail.com. All right, guys. 2 weeks, we'll be back. July 31st, we have REM with their 1987 album, Document. So y'all got some homework to do. I will see you in 2 weeks. Big, big news, July 31st. Stay motherfucking fleecy.